everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Calvin. So today, with the cold weather coming and we're getting into, I like to call it sweatpants season, we can kind of bulk up a little bit and into my favorite category of food, which is comfort food. So today we're going to do the kickstart to that, which is the ultimate, in my opinion, for comfort food. We are doing bacon mac and cheese, two types of cheeses. We're gonna make the roux thickener for the sauce with the bacon grease. I mean, you can't get much more flavor than that. So, first things first, get all your ingredients, of course. And then what you're gonna wanna do is par cook your pasta. So right now I have it cooked off. I pulled it out maybe 2 minutes before it was supposed to be done. The reason that you want to pull it out 2 minutes ahead of time is, one, you don't want overcooked pasta. It's gonna get semi-cooked again with the hot mac and cheese sauce. Also, if you're gonna bake it, then you're gonna wanna pull it out beforehand because it is gonna cook while it's baking. But you don't wanna pull it out right when it's done and then rinse it off, because if you rinse off your pasta with cold water or ice to cool it down instantly, you are making it cool down and you are making it so that it's not cooking any longer, but you also just lost all that starch from cooking the pasta. And that's not what you want to do, because the starch also plays a factor in thickening up the sauce. A lot of it is the roux sauce, or the roux thickener, but some of it is from the starch. So, I believe we've covered roux before, but just to kind of reiterate it, it's melted butter that you cook flour into. That way you can incorporate it into sauces without really detecting the flour or having clumps of anything. Another common thickener is cornstarch, and you make a slurry, but this is the best scenario for what we're trying to do. So, let's get our pan really nice and hot. Two options with the bacon. You can cut it beforehand, which I did, or you can cook it and crumble it up. Either way, you'll obtain the same thing. So we're gonna get our pan nice and smoking hot. Second thing we wanna do is get our plate ready with a paper towel so that we can easily put the bacon onto that and then get right into making the roux. Pan is nice and smoking hot. We'll get all the bacon into there. Evenly distribute it around the pan. Now we're just frying up some bacon. Not too much you have to do. It'll start pulling itself away from the pan as it cooks. You want to get all that bacon fat out. Yeah, so now we've rendered it down. It's getting a nice golden crispy look to it. You want to kind of pull everything. You want a slotted spoon. The goal is to extract the bacon and leave as much of the bacon fat as possible. So, extract some of the drippings back in onto a paper towel. We want all of this nice fat as kind of our liquid for our binder. Now you can't really do this with just bacon fat. We are going to have to add a little bit of butter, but substantially less butter than what we would add. So for this part, I would say, just to be on the safe side, turn off the flame, come over. I have 2 tablespoons of butter. So that's going right into there. Now right now would be the perfect time if you're looking for more additives, if you're going to add garlic, if you're going to add peppers, anything like that. This is a good step right here to add it. So you can kind of render it down, into the butter, get that flavor incorporated into there. But I'm going to stay pretty true to the true mac and cheese on this one. Now, one thing I do like to do when I'm doing this, it's just more of a personal preference, is I let the butter go a little bit longer with the fat to kind of get like a brown butter effect to it. It's going to give you a little bit more nuttiness to it. And honestly, if you just leave it cooking for an extra 30 seconds, you've got it. So, now that's all melted, mixed it in. Now we want to get all of our flour into there. Now for the amount that we're doing, that was about half of a cup. So all in all, we're talking about a pound of bacon here. I cooked off a pound of pasta. I have a pound of cheese grated up, plus an extra half pound of cube cheese. Just looking everything to come together a little bit. You want to actually cook down your roux just a tad bit, just so that we can avoid getting that flour taste. You gotta move it, unless you turn down the heat, which might be wise. I'm not gonna do that. If you turn down the heat, then you don't have to move it around as much. But I want to keep this high heat because this is the pan that I have chosen to do everything in. We're going to keep it moving, make sure it's not burning. Once we feel like we have the right consistency, it can be a little bit loose. We are adding quite a bit of cheese to this. So once we have it right about where we want it, now let's get all the milk in. Will help to have a whisk handy. All right, so we're not adding our cheese yet. If we add the cheese at this point before, well, let's rewind a little bit. So what we're doing right now is one of the 4 basic sauces of cooking. This is a bechamel sauce. From here, you make, it's a grandfather sauce, so most cream sauces start out with a bechamel sauce, and then from there you add stuff to it to make it a certain type of sauce that you want. So what we just created is bechamel. Now if we were to throw in the milk, throw in the cheese, before the milk was made into a bechamel sauce, then everything would be separated. It wouldn't come back together, and you'd probably never be invited to the cookout again. So, I'm trying to avoid that. Now we have our bechamel sauce up to a light simmer. So, first thing we want to do, as you can see, with my 2 cheeses, I have shredded and I have cubed. So the cubed is what we want to put in first, because that, with it being cubed, is going to take the longest to actually break down into it. So we add that one with the flame still on, and then we shut it off. Now we want to get that incorporated into here. Now it is brown because I did the brown butter method for my roux. Also, you get a little bit of a color tint from the actual bacon fat. And that's all the particles that are also floating around in there. It's all the scrapings from the bottom of the pan. from the actual bacon. So once those clumps are breaking up, the other reason that I like to do 2 different cuts of cheese is because these won't actually break down all the way. They'll break down most of the way, but what you'll actually find is little pockets of surprise in there of kind of unbroken down cheese as you're eating the mac and cheese. And I think that's pretty pleasant. So now we want to get our second cheese into there. Now definitely experiment with what types of cheese you like, what types of cheese you don't like into there. This is a pretty just basic method, but this is also a really good thing to clear out your drawer of all those cheeses and extra chunks of cheese that you have in there. So, now our sauce is coming together. Now, dealer's choice for this, if you want to keep the bacon nice and crispy, then you put it on top as you're serving it. But if you want it incorporated right into the mac and cheese and every bite to have a little bit of bacon, then you could throw it in right now. I prefer to have it nice and crispy on top. So now we want to get our pasta into there. And there you go. No, I'm just kidding. Now you break it down into there. Right, if you're like me and you put too much and load your pan up, don't worry. You can put it into a bowl. The residual heat from the sauce will actually heat the mac part of this back up. So, now for the drum roll. Nice, cheesy, gooey, gooey. Now, this would be good at this stage if you're more into baked mac and cheese. You know, you can throw some breadcrumbs on top of this, toast it up real quick. But that is not me. So you could literally take it. There you go. Nice, easy, simple. I've never met anybody that doesn't like mac and cheese, so there you are. And until next time.